Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the closing action on the D Street, starting from the benchmark index moves to the sectoral action and all the stocks that are moving in trade today. Also, our focus will be on the Adani Group stocks because as we speak, the matter is being taken up by the Supreme Court, the Adani Hindenburg Rao, and the case is being heard. We are awaiting any kind of information, order, verdict and any observations if the court really makes on the two matters that are being heard in court today. And we will continue to focus on how should you as investors be approaching the Adani Group stocks amid these hearings and what are the things that you should keep in mind as well. But first up, a quick check on how the markets are doing at this point in time. Well, the markets have picked up pace, looking better than the morning half, of course. If you look at the Nifty right now, it's up by 21 odd points at 18,318. The Sensex is back above the 62,000 mark again, 140 points of an upside, almost a 0.25% surge for the Sensex as well. What's really helping the markets really inch higher? Some of the stocks from the auto basket, of course, Eicher Motors is the top gainer. Right after stellar numbers, the stock has been on an upward trend. 6.5% right now. It's maintaining its gains right from the morning trade. M&M following suit, 2% higher. IndusInd Bank continuing with its upward run as well. So the autos, banks, financials, these are moving in trade today. Axis Bank, Tata Motors, the other movers right now. The FMCG stocks also. HUL moving higher. So you do have Hero Moto, HDFC Bank, SBI. So the banks, financials, autos and FMCG. These are the pockets that are definitely supporting the market sentiment. On the flip side, if you see, the metals are really dragging the sentiments. Hindalco down by almost 4 odd percent. BPCL, Power Grid, these stocks are also down by almost 3% in trade. NTPC, Ultratech Cement, Tata Steel as well. Let's also look at the Adani group of stocks. How are they also moving in trade? Let's look at Adani Enterprises. Remember, yesterday the stock was up by 5.5%, reacting to the news flows that the group may be now mulling to raise fresh funds going forward from here. That led Adani Enterprises jumping in trade yesterday, but today there's definitely pressure coming in. And the pressure is also following the MSCI index changes for sure for two of the group stocks, and the flagship stock is also seeing some dips. Apart from this, let's look at the other stocks as well. Adani Transmission, Adani Total Gas, these are the two stocks that have immediately got impacted from the MSCI index, and you can actually see these two stocks down in the lower circuit today. Let's welcome our guest on the show. Mr. Avinash Gorakshakar really joins in. He's the head of research from Profit Mart Securities. Welcome, sir, and thank you so much for taking the time out for this discussion. First up, your comment on the markets and how are you advising investors to really approach the equity and the movement right now in the markets?
Yeah, I think good afternoon, Sakshi. I think markets have been fairly buoyant considering the fact that a lot of FI liquidity has entered the markets. And I think markets are definitely looking forward for the fact that inflation, which was a major issue, in the last few months, there are clear signs that inflations could peak out not only in India but in US. And I think that is the main driving factor which is responsible for the buoyancy in the market. Our sense is that in the next, couple of meetings for both the Fed and the RBI meet, I think if interest rates are paused, then this could be taken as a big positive surprise. We believe that the monsoons also, if they are possibly, properly dispersed in this current year, then I think it could further fuel the market rally. However, in the near term, markets would be volatile because, as everyone is aware, tomorrow we get the Karnataka state election results, and I think
Yeah.
there could be some impact in the coming week, following the result which comes following what finally emerges in Karnataka.
Right. So that, for sure is something that the investors will keep an eye out on. But the other pocket that I've been talking on is the Adani group of stocks. They have been in focus. Several news flows really impacting an everyday movement on Adani group stocks. First up, on the developments that we actually saw yesterday and day before. On the one hand, Adani Enterprises, the board is going to be meeting tomorrow to consider a proposal of raising of funds. This comes right after the 20,000 crore rupees FPO was really withdrawn earlier in this year as well. How do you really see this announcement from the Adani Group? And do you think that any of these plans could again be impacted by what comes out today at the Supreme Court hearing?
I think, Sakshi, my guess is that the Supreme Court hearing could possibly put all the concerns to raise once and for all. However, my sense is that the fundraising exercise actually shows the group's confidence in raising money after the Hindenburg issue happened, quite some time back. More importantly, my sense is that this issue could be largely for the qualified institutional investors. They may not look at a retail offering. So I think clearly this could be a offering for select HNIs as well as qualified institutional investors. The retail piece may not be coming as of now, but yes, if the money raised is significantly at reasonably good valuations, then I think the markets would obviously give this a thumbs up, because that means that the management is very confident and aggressive on their growth plans, which actually had suffered a setback in the last few months. So I think net, let's wait and watch for the Hindenburg Supreme Court hearing. But I think possibly we could get to hear any favorable kind of verdict, and that possibly is the reason for the buoyancy in the Adani Group stocks.
Okay, so there is a likelihood of favorable announcements to come in from the court this time around. But just for the benefit of all our viewers, let me apprise you with what exactly are we expecting from the court today. Remember the Hindenburg research report on Adani Group of stocks that came in January 2023. After that, we've seen the Supreme Court of India constitute an expert panel that is headed by former Apex Court Judge Justice A.M. Sapre for the assessment of the extant regulatory framework for investigation into the allegations that were labeled against the Adani Group. Now, the 6-member panel was then asked to assess how to protect consumers' interest in a better way, if regulatory lapses did exist, and the broader impact also. Now, after we've also heard that there has been a submission of a report by this 6-member expert panel on the Hindenburg research report in a sealed cover, and that the Supreme Court is definitely going to look at and perhaps make an observation on what they think about the findings of this report made by or submitted by the 6-member panel. Now, this member panel was supposed to be submitting the report on 8th of May, and after that the matter got listed for hearing today before Chief Justice of India Dubey Chandrachud. However, right ahead of Supreme Court hearing, we did see Adani shares also moving tepid, awaiting the hearing. Two of the Adani Group stocks, the Total Gas and Transmission, did get locked in the lower circuit because of the MSCI group of changes as well. So that's exactly that we are awaiting. The other matter that the Supreme Court is going to be hearing is on SEBI's plea on giving it an extension of 6 months to really probe and come out with the findings as well. So these two matters will be before the Supreme Court, and we are awaiting any kind of decision by the Supreme Court, observations or a verdict on all of this as well. The other matter, Mr. Gorakshakar, that I was just pointing out, just yesterday we did see the MSCI changes, 2 of the stocks being removed from this index as well. How big an impact is this likely to have on the entire group stocks going forward from here?
I think my guess is that whatever price damage had to happen for the Adani Group stocks has already happened. The market has factored in almost all the negatives in the price, and now the market will focus again on the fundamentals, on the growth kind of plans of all these companies. Clearly, funding was a very major component for most of the Adani Group companies, and I now, with the announcement that Adani Transmission, Adani Enterprises are planning to raise funds, this clearly shows that growth plans are now again coming back. Hopefully, if the money is raised quickly, and I think from institutional large investors, then I think that would give a lot of comfort to the overall valuations of these companies, and make the market more confident on this group going forward.
Okay. When we talk about these Adani Group stocks, Mr. Gorakshakar, they have definitely recovered from their February lows, but are still about 49% down from their January 24th level. The day we actually saw US-based short seller Hindenburg Research made severe allegations against the group, and the stocks really went into a free fall and continued thereafter as well. Despite this recovery, do you still believe the valuations still have an upside? Because that was one of the major concerns, that these stocks have actually moved up in a very short span of time as well. So despite this kind of a recovery, do we still see an upside?
Yeah, I think clearly, if you talk about valuations, I think clearly, Adani Ports, Adani Wilmar, these companies have definitely corrected sharply, and now valuations are definitely looking attractive. As far as the other group companies like Adani, Total Gas, Adani Transmission, I would believe that valuations had become extremely frothy and very expensive sometime in January. So I think a correction was expected anyway. today I would believe that even from a risk reward point of view, Adani Ports, Adani Wilmar definitely offers a decent risk reward. Maybe
Hmm.
Adani Total Gas and Transmission still would be market performers because the valuations have not corrected significantly. I think we still feel that these two companies are slightly, priced at a premium to the market compared to Adani Ports and Adani Wilmar. So I think selectively, investors would be looking at specific companies in the group so that they could make a decent amount of risk reward from these trends.
Hmm. When we're talking about the hearing today, of course, the report by the six-member panel was already submitted on 8th of May. But the developments that have just come 2 days before, will the Supreme Court really be looking into this? Because we saw that the Mauritius government and financial services minister right there really gave favorable comments when it comes to the Adani Group stocks. They refuted the allegations that were made by Hindenburg on the shell companies of Adani that actually exist in the island nation. And they said that none of such companies or duplicate companies do exist with the name of Adani right there. So do you think these favorable comments will have anything that the Supreme Court will also watch out for today?
No, definitely. I think the comments coming from the Mauritius government are definitely reassuring. I think clearly it put down all the rumors and the news flows that some sort of offshore shell companies were operating in Mauritius. So I think this clear statement from the Mauritius government gives a lot of comfort, to the Adani group because clearly their point becomes more stronger in the Supreme Court. So my sense is that this will definitely be a positive factor which will play in the overall judgment today. So I think
Hmm.
it's definitely a positive kind of news flow, at least in the near term.
Right. Mr. Gorakshakar, what did you read through in the numbers that have been posted in this quarter by the Adani Group companies? Do they fundamentally really support the kind of move that we had seen in the stocks as well? And, post the earnings, does it give really fresh confidence to the investors on, if not all, some of the stocks?
Yeah, I think a lot of price damage, Sakshi, has happened in the Adani Group stocks, and a lot of retail investors have been caught very badly. So I think,
Hmm.
in stocks like Adani Total Gas, which was trading at 3,000 rupees, is now a three-digit share. Adani Transmission also, there's been a very significant price depreciation. As far as Adani Ports is also concerned, there was a lot of sell-off, but there has been some value buying here. Adani Wilmar has come out with a poor set of Q4 numbers, but I think that was on expected lines. So my sense is that, this group will now consolidate, focus more on their balance sheets, reduction of pledges, and obviously try to do a little bit more on the capital allocation strategy, which was largely in favor of debt. So I think going forward it's going to take a long time, but yes, I think if the Supreme Court judgment becomes gets positive for the Adani group, that will
Hmm.
definitely be a kind of a differentiator, at least in the near term, for all the Adani group companies.
Got that. As an alert to all our viewers, the Adani Hindenburg case hearing has started in the Supreme Court. So very, very shortly, we are awaiting any kind of observations and decisions that the Supreme Court really makes. We will also connect with our reporter who's at the court and is looking at the observations. As soon as they come in, we will definitely take those up as well. Meanwhile, we'll come back and circle back to the Adani Group case also, Mr. Gorakshakar. But otherwise, overall, the market setup, where else apart from the Adani Group should investors be really keeping their eye out on? We have seen the most of the earnings really play out. Some of them are already priced into the stock as well. What next for the markets, and how next should one really strategize their investments and approach in the markets?
So I think the earnings season this time, Sakshi, has been much better than what the street expectations were, and I think noticeable sectors which have done really well include sectors like automotive components, capital goods, even real estate companies, cement companies, and I think the markets are definitely looking forward for a better set of earnings numbers for the first quarter of FY24, especially sectors like cement where raw material prices have come down, demand has also picked up. And my sense is that sectors like defense, railways, I think these are also sectors where a lot of latent demand is going to come in the next 3 to 6 months. So I think markets are now looking at positive, near term, what happens on the international macro side. How is inflation going to be peaking out? Because this is going to be the single most factor which will be will re-rate the market. Already the markets are getting a hint that after the latest Fed in rate hike, the next rate hike may not come for a very long time. And most importantly, if the monsoons are good, the monsoon would be the near-term trigger for the Indian markets. If monsoons are normal, then I think that could be a further re-rating factor. Of course, the elections are going to be there in this year, so those factors will also play out. But I think overall, the monsoon factor is now going to be important after the earnings season are over.
That's very important. The monsoon factor will be an important trigger for the markets and the way the markets take their next way forward from here on as well. But I wanted to ask you about several pockets. We did see that the auto stocks were up and about today, of course, led by another momentum in earnings, and that is Eicher Motors that came out with good earnings, and we saw the stock really inching higher by 8% on an intraday level. Also right now about 6.5%, maintaining at that level. From the auto basket, is there anything that is looking interesting to you? And do you really believe, all the things that were bothering the auto sector, be it the COVID-related, pandemic-related issues that they were facing, the semiconductor-related issues, the supply, the raw material prices, are all of them now slowly going onto the back burner? Is it the right time to start, nibbling some of the auto stocks now?
Yeah, I think Sakshi, today I was reading some note where they were saying that automotive sales have now crossed the pre-COVID kind of sales. So I think after a very long time, the sector is now into a lot of buzzing activity. Apart from the fact that a lot of new product launches are expected in the current financial year. Most importantly, sectors like commercial vehicles and passenger cars, I think should be definitely be looked upon very closely. I think Maruti Suzuki or Tata Motors, which obviously is going to have its board meeting today for declaring a dividend after a long time, could be interesting bets, considering that there's a lot of headroom for growth in both these companies.
Okay. And, on the IT pack, of course, this is one space where nobody wanted to really touch this space amid all the fiasco that we actually saw in the IT pack. But post the earnings, have things started to stabilize a bit? Is it the right time for someone to look at IT who's looking from a long-term perspective to continue with the strength of accumulating some of the stocks?
Yeah, I think clearly the IT companies have done obviously on historical basis, that is FY23 numbers, they've done a steady performance. But I think going forward, the guidances which have been given by large players like Infosys, HCL Tech have been quite tepid, single digit growth. So I think investors who want to take a contra call and want to invest money can obviously allocate little amount of monies in these frontline companies, because I believe that over the next 6 to 8 months, once there's a kind of a tail room improvement in US and Europe, there could be a big bounce back. In fact, we saw very good numbers from Intellect Design, and today the stock was in limelight. So I think overall improvements would come in, but I think you need to give a slightly longer term time frame for your investments here.
Okay, understood that as well. What is really bothering the metal pack? There's been a sharp fall in today's trading action. We've also been the stock really trading volatile, with most of the days seeing some cuts as well. Is there something structural that is continuing to turn negative for the metal pack, and is this a space where you would avoid?
See, I think we have been always advocating on your channel that metal companies will definitely find the next couple of quarters a little more challenging, because globally metal prices continue to be weak. Today there were reports that aluminum prices have softened. Again, China has not entered the metal market in a big way. So I would believe that despite the fact that infrastructure development in India would obviously drive domestic demand for steel, the global metal prices have yet not improved. So I think over the next 6 to 8 months, you could probably find these companies remaining lackluster, and I think earnings growth is going to be missing. So I think it's better to wait and watch for some time. But yes, metal companies would do well only once we get some global tailwinds, especially about China entering the metal market.
Okay, so that's as far as the metals is concerned. Another pocket that I wanted your view on is the broader markets, especially the small cap space. In the recent AMFI data, what we did witness is that the flows were stronger in the small caps vis-a-vis the large caps as well. The FII's pickup in the small caps has also increased over the recent times. Is this a space that you're also watching out very keenly? Is this a time that you would advise investors to start, increasing their exposure to small caps?
Yeah, I think Sakshi, clearly, large caps have become slightly fair to expensive. And I think now most of the investors, the smart investors, are looking at small cap and mid caps, largely because, here the alpha creation opportunity is significantly better than, large caps. And I think mid caps had been beaten down very badly. Their valuations had also come off, after touching their peak levels. So I think valuations have also been comforting. There is some valuation catch up happening. At the same time, most of the companies have shown a very strong Q4 number and plus a very strong FY24 business outlook. So I think it's going to be a pick and choose here. But yes, this space is going to be very interesting, provided one approaches a stock specific approach.
Okay, understood that too. Which are the top stocks that you are keeping on your radar right now, where you believe that for FY24 investors can definitely keep these stocks on their radar, that whether or not the stock markets really give you handsome returns, these particular stocks could actually help you generate alpha?
Yeah, I think two companies where we are positive is one is Orient Cement, which is a CK Birla Group company. It's got a capacity of 8.5 million tons, and very soon it will be increasing it to 11 million tons. We believe that this company has got a very large presence in three states: Karnataka, Telangana, and Maharashtra. And I think definitely this company should do well. The con-call commentary was also very positive. Uh, the other stock is VIP Industries. This is a play on the hospitality theme, and I think the company came out with very strong set of numbers. Our sense is that the next 12 to 15 months, hopefully if the hospitality and the travel business continues to show strong trends, then VIP is definitely going to benefit significantly.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Gorakshakar, for being with us on the show and discussing with us various pockets of importance and the way investors should be moving as far as their investments are concerned in equities. We'll take a short break, come back and take on the coverage on the Supreme Court hearing on the Adani Hindenburg case. And amidst that, what should be your own strategy on the Adani group of stocks as well? In fact, we are getting some information coming in as far as the Adani group hearing is concerned. The information that we are getting is that the Supreme Court Supreme Court is hearing the matter on the appointed panel. In fact, the panel has submitted the report in a sealed cover. The bench headed by Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, is hearing the plea. In fact, Solicitor General has said that we are seeking extension of time. We need 6 months more. That's the comments made by the Solicitor General as well. Also, the other information that's coming in is that I am not reading anything and probe is required to be done. Suspicious transactions need to be probed and we need 6 months more to reach to a conclusion. I think these are the statements that are being read by the Supreme Court judges as far as the report that has been submitted by the 6-member panel, and also on SEBI plea as well, where they have requested for an extension of 6 months too. Now, Solicitor General for SEBI has said this, that within the court, the statements that have been submitted by the Solicitor General for SEBI are that wherever we have said suspicious transactions, it's according to the report. We are not saying ourselves that the transactions are suspicious. So those are the statements that are coming on from the Solicitor General for SEBI. Mr. Gorakshakar, what do you read of the statements that have been made by Solicitor General? Wherever we have said suspicious transactions, it's according to the report. We are not saying this ourselves, that the transactions are suspicious. That's what the Solicitor General has said.
So I think, Sakshi, obviously, suspicious transactions definitely arouse a little bit of concern, from the investor as well as from the market side. But my sense is that unless we get some full clarity on what the Supreme Court judgment is, I think it's very difficult to take a short-term call on this, on the Adani group as of now. I would believe the market should also await for full clarity, and then obviously you could see the impact of that on the stock prices in the coming few weeks.
Okay, and what we are understanding is that SEBI has clearly asked that, and said in the court that all we need is more time right now. We are still awaiting the Supreme Court order on whether this extension has been allowed or not. But in case this is allowed, will this be a big breather for the Adani group too?
No, I think my guess is, a 6 month extension was more or less on expected lines, Sakshi. So I think it doesn't give any major kind of advantage or positive to the Adani group. In fact, they were wanting this judgment to come out upfront so that all the investors are very clearly
Yeah.
aware of what the reality is.
So that means the uncertainty and the period of volatility may continue for next 6 months in case the order comes in on that.
Yeah, I think it would. See, as long as the judgment does not come full and final, there would be volatility and there would be a little bit of wild swings in this in the Adani group stocks.
Okay, understood that as well. Let's quickly look at how, just 2 minutes remaining for the markets to shut. Let's look at how the Adani Group stocks are really reacting to these comments as well. Of course, 9 of the 10 Adani Group stocks have been trading in the red zone right from the morning trade. Several of the news flows that have been impacting the MSCI index changes that impacted Adani Transmission and Adani Total Gas as well. And the other stocks also. Let's look at these stocks first for all our viewers. The Adani Group stocks. Let's start off with Adani Enterprises. Pull up the rest of the stocks as well. Adani Transmission. Yeah, so Adani Enterprises is closing the day almost a percent lower at 1965, almost at the day's low. Adani Transmission has pulled off from the day's low. It's now ending the day at 3.08%. Adani Total Gas, let's look at that stock as well. 819, 4% down in trade, slightly weaker than the Adani Transmission, but off the lower circuit for sure. Adani Green is down by almost 2% as well. Let's look at Adani Power, Wilmar, and let's also look at the other group stocks like ACC, Ambuja as well. So Ports is down by 1.5%. Let's look at Power, Wilmar, all of those stocks too. 1% down for Adani Power at 240 in today's trading action. Let's look at Wilmar as well. It's trading down by 0.7%. Nothing has really changed materially as far as these comments have come in from the Supreme Court as of now. Ambuja Cements trading down by 0.5%. That's another stock that's been down in trade. ACC, perhaps the only stock that's trading up and has closed the day up almost a percent higher in today's trading session as well. The Solicitor General for SEBI has also said that considering that many contours are outside the jurisdiction, we need a minimum of 6 months. That is what they have said. This is the minimum required time of 6 months. Prashant Bhushan is there, and the statements coming in from Prashant Bhushan say that SEBI was probing some of the transactions since 2016 as well. But when we talk about SEBI, they have said that we are not going to be commenting on any of the transactions. We are not saying that the transactions are suspicious wherever they have mentioned so. So they have not really taken on this. We also have Mr. Vineet Bulinshkar joining right in. Vineet, I do know that we've done several shows on Adani Group stocks. You also have been bullish on most of the stocks as well. You were one of the first analysts. In fact, I remember I speaking to when we did see the recovery process for most of these stocks starting after that free fall, and you did tell me that some of the stocks are looking attractive at these valuations as well, and that was the correct time for you to actually go ahead and also look at or advise investing in those stocks. We're hearing the Supreme Court statements right now. Some of them have already come out. Solicitor General for SEBI has said that they need more time to investigate. The statement that has also come out is that wherever we have said suspicious transactions, it's according to the report, and we are not saying that ourselves that the transactions are suspicious, and all SEBI has asked for is an extension of 6 months because most of the contours lie outside of the jurisdiction as well. Amid the Supreme Court hearing, how would you really approach the Adani Group stocks now? Vineet, if you could hear me?
I can't hear anything.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Vineet, with all of that. Let's one more statement update that has come in. Petitioners oppose the grant of 6 months additional time to SEBI. Of course, the opposition continues to take place. And Avinash, you've been maintaining that as soon as the decisions come out, that would actually give more clarity for the investors as well. And perhaps that would build on more investors' confidence once the things are done and dusted. But SEBI continuously maintaining that 6 months is what they need as well. Vineet, if you can hear me, we've been talking about the Supreme Court hearing, statements coming about as well. As far as the hearing on the Adani Hindenburg case is concerned, 2 cases up for hearing. One is the SEBI plea on the extension of 6 months. And the other, the observations that are being made by the court as far as the sealed, the report submitted in a sealed cover is concerned. Your own thoughts on how would these developments really impact Adani Group stocks going forward?
investors, investor protection is very important, and investors should wait a while on this SIT report that comes. So if SEBI has asked for 6 months of time period, I think investors should wait for this judgment to come before venturing into buying these stocks,
Hmm.
because it can go either way. So prevention better than cure, and better to be safe than to be sorry. But having said that, we do believe that the businesses of Adani are very, very strong. And this 6 month tenure which is there is going to help the company to shore up its asset quality. The balance sheet strength will improve, leverage will come down. And a lot of the existing projects will be focused on completion. So cash flow position of the company will also be better. So I believe that this 6 month tenure, which you should uh, just track the company from a process of execution, and then venture out into these companies only when and once this judgment is out, because it will have a significant impact on the corporate governance. Having said that, for the daredevils who would like to buy into this mayhem, I believe that two stocks which offer a lot of value today are Adani Ports and Adani Total Gas. We believe these shares are significantly underpriced. They have strong growth parameters, trajectories in place, and uh, they're large incumbents in their own specific domains.
Right,
So
right.
we
In
feel
fact,
that these
Vineet,
stocks
we're getting a very big statement coming in. The Chief Justice of India to Solicitor General has said extending the time by 6 months may be too much. Extending the times by 6 months may be too much. The time that has been asked by SEBI, CJI has said that this may be too much. So, do you think there is an option that SEBI may not actually get what they have asked, but the extension for a little time, perhaps not much?
Yeah, I'm sure that SEBI would be provided a little leeway in terms of filing the report. I guess, if the entire report was given 2 months, asking for a 6 month extension is giving them a extensively long rope. I think another month or 2 month of extension could quite be a possibility.
Okay, Avinash, your comments. Another very big statement that is coming. Chief Justice of India has said, Chief Justice of India Vineet has said that we will place the matter on August 15th now. The matter has been placed for August 15th now, and the Chief Justice of India has said complete the investigation till then. That has what has come in right now from the court. We will place the matter on August 15 and complete the investigation till then. We are sitting on 12th of May right now, Vineet, till August 15. So it's just about a
Yeah, so
3 months extension.
yeah, so it's more than 2 months, which I was suggesting. So it's an adequate timeline that has been provided, and I think 3 months is a very reasonable period to complete the investigation.
That's true. So the Chief Justice of India has said there has to be some alacrity and has said that there is no sealed cover that has been given to us. Okay, so the 6-member panel that was supposed to have given the report to the Supreme Court, on that the Chief Justice of India has said that there is no sealed cover that has been given to us. There were only reports so far that we were hearing, media reports also suggesting that perhaps a report has been submitted in a sealed cover. The Chief Justice of India has said there is no sealed cover that has been given to us. And also again, Prashant Bhushan has said on the matter that SEBI should disclose what all they have investigated so far. So perhaps, they were instructed in March. SEBI was instructed back in March to start the investigation into the case, whether there are any lapses as far as the regulatory issues are concerned. Any developments so far, they have, Prashant Bhushan has asked that SEBI should be disclosing that. And Chief Justice of India has also said that ask them to disclose at this point in time. An investigation is underway, won't be proper. We won't give them 6 months, but just 3 months. So 3 months of an extension has been given. Avinash, your own comments. Not 6 months. Chief Justice of India has said 6 months is asking too much. Till August 15, the matter will be placed now on August 15, and then SEBI has been instructed to complete the investigation till then. Your comments.
In next 3 months the final verdict comes out, then I think it should definitely give some sort of clarity to this entire kind of issue. Overall, our sense is that the Adani Group companies also have publicly mentioned that they are awaiting the report very keenly because there's nothing wrong done from their part. So I would
Hmm.
believe that 3 months is definitely not a long time period. Probably in the end of the next 3 months, we could see a final decision coming on this issue. So net, I think we'll have to wait and watch till that time. As of now, I think the matter seems to be completely status quo.
Okay, but what would you advise investors to do right now? I mean, like, wait for 3 more months before taking any fresh positions in the Adani Group stocks. Look at any of the dips that are coming in. You've been talking about two of the stocks that are your favorite. Vineet believes that, till the time decision comes, fresh investments is likely to be, should be avoided by fresh investors. Your own take, Avinash?
Yeah, I think whoever wants to put money on the Adani Group stocks has to be a contra investor who can take the extra risk in his portfolio because these are very volatile companies. So I think if the risk appetite is high from the investor side, then I can look at companies like Adani Ports, Adani Wilmar. Our sense is that we basically are just commenting on the fundamentals of the business. Both these companies are generating a lot of cash. They have good, strong, hard assets, and I think the long-term kind of outlook for both these companies looks promising. So I think, obviously what happens in the case, what judgment comes out, these are things which are completely out of the purview of fundamental investing. So I think investors who can take
Hmm.
the risk and can take a proactive call even before the results of this case come out can definitely look at accumulating both these companies.
Got that. Vineet, your own thoughts on the developments that we've been seeing over the last 2, 3 sessions. Also, we did see that, Mauritius government really giving in some favorable comments as far as Adani Group is concerned. Then we also saw Adani Enterprises talking about fresh fundraise after the 20,000 crore rupees FPO was withdrawn. Now, this could be another test or a litmus test to test the investors' confidence at this stage. Now, the Supreme Court's verdict coming in on just a 3 months extension because 6 months would be too much. So, which you say is definitely positive at this point in time. Your own thoughts, the way investors should be reading into all these developments, all of those investors who already have their exposure in the Adani Group stocks.
So, investors who have exposure to the Adani stocks, for them, it is a quite a positive that, no Mauritian entity has been found which is not disclosed. Second thing is that, we are seeing the company consolidate position. They are paying back debt, uh, and, they're focusing on execution so that the quality of the balance sheet improves. Growth capital, as I said, is always a constraint given the fact that, so many clouds hang, nobody's ready to lend them money. And the fact that in spite of all these efforts, the company is going ahead with, its plans to raise funds leads credence to the fact that the company is fairly confident of its own business model. And they believe that, they should not let these hindrances which are being posed by Hindenburg uh, be a kind of a distraction to them. So the
Hmm.
business as usual is going on, and that is the signal that they're giving to investors. And that I think for existing investors is a very, very welcome sign. And they
Hmm.
should continue to hold on to their stocks because we believe that the valuations are very cheap.
Which would be your own preferred stocks at this stage as far as the Adani Group is concerned? Because we've seen the earnings also come about. Anything that you have really kept on top of your radar?
So we like Adani Total Gas, we like Adani Ports, Adani uh, Adani Enterprises also very good incubator, and we also like Ambuja and ACC, which are absolutely pecking order stocks. So these five are the ones that we
So
like right now.
Adani Enterprises close to 2,000 rupees. Should one still continue to buy?
So as I said, until this issue is not resolved, Adani, new money should not be poured in. But
Hmm.
I believe that there is a good chance for a 30% upside from current levels.
All right, understood that as well. Avinash, there's some fresh comments also coming in. Let me read that out as well. Chief Justice of India has said the report of the Justice Sapre is submitted in the Supreme Court registry. We are keeping this matter on Monday now, and we will pronounce order on Monday on your application. We need to read the report, which we will do it over the weekend as well. So apparently, the 6-member committee report has already been submitted. They are saying, they are talking about how Justice Sapre has submitted the report in the Supreme Court registry, and now the matter will be now taken up on Monday. So status quo so far. Monday is when we meet next to see what exactly the court really says. So over the weekend, it's going to be again, a situation of a wait and watch, right, Avinash?
Yeah, I think it would be a wait and watch. And interestingly, Sakshi, it comes on Monday because, as I mentioned to you, Monday the market could also react to the state
Yeah.
election results in Karnataka.
Yes, absolutely. So two very, very important updates that we will be getting at over here. To Vineet, your own thoughts as well. The matter now postponed for Monday, and we will be updating, awaiting the order as well on the Supreme Court. Perhaps more clarity emerging on Monday, and before investors should really understand what exactly they should be doing.
Yeah, so we are going to get a little more peep into what the proponents of this case have been putting out and what are the findings. So that is definitely going to be a factor which could impact the stock price going on Monday. So it will be interesting to watch out what happens.
All right, understood that. Well, thank you so much, Avinash. And thank you so much, Vineet, for being with us on the show and discussing with us what could these, statements from the Supreme Court really mean for Adani Group and the way investors should be approaching their investments in both in the group stocks, in fact. But definitely looks like we will get back to this discussion on Monday to understand what exactly should be the strategy, the order that will be pronounced by the court on Monday as well. Until then, status quo and the markets will react to both Karnataka elections and the Adani Group and what exactly really comes out from this court order as well. With that, we will wrap up this edition. Many thanks for being with us onto this show to understand what exactly should be your own approach to these talks and developments as far as the jurisdiction is also concerned. Many thanks for being with us.
The two startups which revolutionized food delivery in India, linking restaurants to customers, becoming generic names in the process. But Swiggy and Zomato have their own competition now, competition which threatens to erode their margins, uncut their offers, and wean away customers who have become so dependent on their services. The mega disruptor is ONDC, a government-led digital superhighway for small retailers to reach their customers without having to pay middlemen or increase costs by giving commissions to third parties. Several food brands have already onboarded the ONDC platform. Interestingly, it was customers who discovered the huge price advantage ONDC is offering. This Twitter user pointed out how a McDonald's burger was 60% cheaper if ordered via ONDC. Another user also ordered from the fast food brand and found not only was the bill lower, but ONDC was not charging for delivery. A customer in Vizag also tweeted the advantages of ONDC after ordering food via the government-owned platform.
ONDC is in that journey is to disaggregate e-commerce and allow small suppliers or even big suppliers like Nestle and small merchants to be on the grid. And there are two interesting use cases that have been launched in the last 1 month, which I'll just take a minute. One is called PIN code. PIN code is launched by PhonePe, and it's a hyperlocal commerce product, which essentially acts as an aggregation and coordination layer on top of small retailers. Another is something called Namma Yatri, which is changing mobility where you can order an auto rickshaw and then you pay directly to the auto guy without paying any platform in between.
Business Today TV took a look at the prices and discounts being offered by restaurants listed on ONDC platform against those on the Swiggy and Zomato apps. The entire Taco Bell menu was at 15% discount on ONDC, while the other delivery platforms offered maximum discounts up to 120 rupees. Burgers from Wendy's were at 20% discount on ONDC, while only Zomato offered a conditional discount of 200 rupees. Barista snacks and beverage were at 28% discount on ONDC, with only Zomato offering much smaller discount. Krispy Kreme donuts had a flat 8% discount on ONDC, while the other delivery platforms had smaller offers. However, the reach of ONDC is still a fraction of the market Swiggy and Zomato service. It has 29,000 sellers with more than 3.5 million products listed, ranging from food to clothes, cab rides to movie tickets, and groceries to electronics. Where ONDC has a leg up on Swiggy and Zomato is delivery charges and commission. Currently, ONDC charges commissions which are half that of the other delivery apps, enabling restaurants to give larger discounts and in some cases absorb delivery charges as well. What also sets ONDC apart from Swiggy and Zomato is its willingness to share user data with restaurants. This has been a sticking point for restaurants who have accused aggregators of not sharing names, addresses and phone numbers of customers. Bureau Report, Business Today Television.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.
I'm informed by the Financial Services Commission that it has taken note of the contents of the report published by Heidelberg Research in January 2023, as well as other information pertaining to this matter, wherein specific reference has been made to inter alia, creation of offshore shell companies in Mauritius, the UAE, and the Caribbean islands. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the outset, I wish to inform the House that the allegations of the presence of shell companies in Mauritius are false and baseless. According to the law, shell companies are not allowed in Mauritius. All global business companies licensed by the Financial Services Commission have to meet substance requirements on an ongoing basis as per Section 21 of the Financial Services Act and are being strictly monitored by the Commission. In fact, in order to meet the substance requirements, all global business companies have to first carry out their core income-generating activities in or from Mauritius as required under the Income Tax Act. Second, be managed and controlled from Mauritius. Third, be administered by a management company. Fourth, have at least 2 directors resident in Mauritius of sufficient caliber to exercise independence of mind and judgment. Fifth, maintain at all times their principal bank account in Mauritius. Sixth, keep and maintain at all times their accounting records at their registered office in Mauritius. 7, prepare their statutory financial statements and cause those financial statements to be audited in Mauritius. And 8, provide for meetings of directors to include at least 2 directors from Mauritius.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.
And I say this with a lot of business people in the room, I think we need to stop looking for a China fix. That Indian growth cannot be built on Chinese efficiency. That ultimately, if we are really to sustain and take the economy to a different level, we have to create the kind of domestic vendor change that a serious manufacturing economy will do. I know that it is not something which will happen overnight, but I can tell you, as someone in the government today, someone in the economic affairs cabinet committee, we take as a priority today that how do you build today the deep manufacturing supply chains.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.
Have you been getting unknown calls from international numbers on WhatsApp? Well, then you need to caution, because these calls you should not even think of answering at all. Getting calls from numbers that start with +67, +41 or any international code that you do not recognize, it's not safe to answer them, because these are scam callers. Now, scam calls are a form of fraud where criminals attempt to trick people into giving them money or even personal information. But what's gotten worse is that now you don't even have to answer these calls. They simply get away with a missed call. These calls can take many forms, including fake tech support calls, phishing scams, robocalls, and the latest one being AI-generated missed calls. The minute you answer these calls, or even if you don't, all the data stored on your phone or cloud becomes immediately vulnerable. The data could range from your Aadhaar, PAN details and biometrics to saved debit card and credit card information. In recent years, we've seen a significant increase in the number of scam calls reported by individuals and businesses alike. There are several factors that have contributed to this rise, including technology advancements, changes in consumer behavior, and the ease with which scam callers can operate across international borders. Well, international borders, these scams have now moved away from just Jamtara. According to a report by local circles, based on a survey, it was revealed that about 64% of Indians get about 3 to 4 spam calls every single day. The survey also found that about 95% of these individuals who have registered their numbers with TRAI's D&D list still continue to receive these spam or scam calls. Yet another report titled Global Spam Report 2021, Truecaller, had ranked India as the 4th most affected country by spam calls. But why is that? Why are we so vulnerable? I spoke with a cybersecurity expert, Mr. Amit Dubey. Thank you so much for joining, Mr. Amit Dubey. I'm going to start by asking that what are these kinds of scams that we're coming across? Even if you answer the call or you don't, your data is still very vulnerable. So how would you suggest that we safeguard our data?
You need to do 3 settings in your WhatsApp. First, you should disable, there's a feature in WhatsApp that you can block any call which is coming through unknown numbers. So if you have not saved that number in your phone book, if it is not in your contact list, and if you being targeted through those numbers, it will automatically block. So you can go to your WhatsApp settings and you can block those numbers. There is a possibility.
India is the 4th most affected country by scam or spam calls. 64% of Indians get 3 spam calls daily. So where do the scammers get your phone number from? That's one question that everyone wonders after they get such a call. The answer is slightly more complex than we think. It starts from the time you sign up onto a website or share your phone number at a store in order to avail promotional offers or deals. Your data gets stored on the company's database. Given the weak tech infrastructure and missing laws to protect this data, a scammer can easily access your data. Remember when Domino's India had a data breach? The scammers were able to get data of over 18 crore people. And there have been so many other attacks over the past couple of years. In terms of cyber attacks and data breaches, India is ranked the 2nd most vulnerable country in the APAC region, according to a Palo Alto report. In the event of rising calls and data breaches, a data protection law is the need of the hour. Proposed for a couple of years now, the Data Protection Bill is all set to be tabled in the monsoon session of the Parliament. This bill will potentially safeguard data, and that will take down the scams. But in the meantime, make sure you protect your data by enabling all the settings that we just discussed.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.
Hello and welcome to Business Today Television. I'm Siddharth Zarabi, and with me today is NS Venkatesh, the Chief Executive Officer of the Association of Mutual Funds Industry of India, AMFI. Welcome to BTTV, Mr. Venkatesh. I want you to begin by telling our viewers about the latest data as far as inflows into the mutual fund sector in the reporting month of April.
Thanks, Siddharth. Yeah, essentially, we are looking at it. The flows have been reasonably okay, in the sense that the net flows for this month is around 1,21,000 crore. The AUM